Good morning, everyone. So far we have learned quite a lot about Java NetBeans, and we have covered few things in theory. So we'll be creating our first application on Java NetBeans today, and this is the question that I've chosen for today. We'll be taking an input of two numbers through these two text fields, and we'll be creating four different buttons: addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division, and then we'll be solving them through these buttons. So let's just open Java NetBeans. There must be a NetBeans icon on your desktop, shortcut icon like this is available over here. See, so you have to double click on this, then your NetBeans IDE will open, and then we'll click on File, select New Project, and then select Java Application, click on Next. Now the project name is given by the system. This is the default name that has been given, Java Application 13. Now since we are going to go step by step in creating different projects, so I am going to give this a name, Project 1. You can give whatever name you want to give to your file or project for the first time. This is the location where your Java NetBeans applications will be stored in your system, and then we'll click on Finish. All right, so now you can see there is a project file that has opened over here, Project 1. We'll right click on this and we'll click on New, and then we'll add Java New JFrame. So this is also the new name that is given by the system. I'm closing anything that is extra so that you can have a clear view of what we are going to create. Alright, I think the last one I had, it has not been deleted. So I'll just delete this again and clear. I'm going to make another project. It is showing some kind of issue with the previous project that I've created. Okay, I'm going to start it again. New project, Java application, next, and I'm going to give it a name of Project NetBeans 1, and then I'll click on Finish. Alright, so now I have this, you can see the cup and saucer icon over here, Project NetBeans 1. It is good when you get error, so it is also good for students to understand why you are getting error and what can be done about it. So now I'll right click on this, go to New, select JFrame form, and now this is the default name given by the system, New JFrame. If you want, you can change it, and if you want the name to be same as New JFrame, you can keep it. So I'm going to keep New JFrame, the name for my form. Alright, so now this is the frame that we have. So if you have to create this maths calculator, so you require around 3 text fields, 3 different labels, and 4 buttons, and I'm going to create one more label on the top for the heading. So let's first drop few labels. This is my first label, then second label, third label, and fourth label. Okay, so now I'm going to create text fields. Text field 1, text field 2, text field 3, and now 4 buttons: button 1, button 2, button 3, and button 4. Okay, see, I am not comfortable with the alignment, the force alignment that is given by the system. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to click anywhere on the frame, select right click on the frame, select set layout, then go to null layout. Now you're free to choose what you want to do. So on the J label 1, see, all the labels will be used so that we can display some kind of text on the screen, and text field can be used for anything, either for input or for output. So these two text field 1 and 2 are going to take an input, and we have to remove the text. Remember, there are two important properties for any component. All these are component: label, text fields, and buttons. So they have a lot of properties. If you want to see what kind of properties they have, you have to right click on them. Like for example, if I go on this text field and if I'll right click on this, I have been given a lot of options. So the first one is edit text. So text is something that you display on the component. So JText field 1 was written by default. So I have changed it to null because I don't want anything to be displayed on my text field. I have to take an input from the user. Then second is variable name. These two properties are different. For variable name is the name of the component. This is JText field 1. You can give any name to your component, and then after you have given that name, you have to remember that name because that name will be used in the coding. So I try to keep the name that is given by the system because then it is easier for you to code. For every text field, every component that you're going to get in anywhere in the Java NetBeans when you are creating a project. So if you remember the default name, you can do your coding with that. So I'm going to keep the default name. So text and name are two different properties. If you're going to change the text, it is not going to affect the name. And if you're going to change the name, it is not going to affect the property text. So then you go down and then you can see there is another icon for properties. You can set properties for the text, color, whatever you want to see in your text field. And then there are another few important properties, that is enabled, editable. So we can make our text field editable or enabled. We'll discuss about them in the next application and project then when we are going to do it. So for right now, we will only concentrate on text and name, two properties. All right. So J label 1, I'm going to write maths calculator over here. All right. Maths calculator. Now I want it, because this is a heading, I want it to be bigger and little bold. So I'm going to go to properties and I'm going to select bold, and I think 18 would be good. Yeah, so that's it. So you have a bold and bigger heading. Now for label 2, I'm going to write number 1 over here. For label 3, I'm going to write number 2. J button 1, I'm going to write add. J button 2, subtract. Multiply. And then divide. We'll also learn one more thing, that is to find out remainder, because that is very important mathematical operator that you'll be using a lot while doing coding. So I'm going to create another button and I'm going to write remainder. Alright, so we have these 5 different buttons for different purpose. Label 4, we are going to write result. This is text field 3. This will be used for displaying the final result or output. Okay. Now our design is ready. As you can see, there are different tabs over here: source, design, and history. So design is the tab where you're going to create everything in the design mode. So all you have to do over here is to set different properties and different components you have to drag and drop. So it is very easy to create this kind of design. Now we'll double click on the button behind which we want to do the coding. We'll double click on, let me do it once again. Yeah, so we are here behind J button 1, action performed. So after this bracket, we'll start writing the code from here. After this comment, this is the comment that is written. So comments are basically not executed by the system. So comments are given either in this form. This is single line comment. So you can avoid writing your code over here. From the next line, we can start writing. Now, as we know that we have to take two numbers as an input and we have to display the result. So I'm going to take 3 variables. Int, sorry, it has to be, Java is case sensitive, so you have to be very careful. So I have decided on taking a data type int, and I'm declaring variable num1 comma num2, and then result is equal to 0. A lot of children get confused with the variable name as the label name that has been given outside, like number 1. See, this is not something, this is only for the display, number 1. It is not necessary for you to take the same variable name. You can choose anything as a variable name, but make sure whenever you are creating a variable name, it should not have any space in between. If I'm going to write num space 1, it is going to give error. So variable name cannot have space, and it cannot have any other symbol apart from your underscore and $sign. And also you cannot use something like you cannot use any reserved keyword. I cannot, like, you must have heard about for, if, while, switch. So I cannot create a data variable name with the keyword, like switch is a keyword, so it is going to give me an error. So you have to be careful with variable names that you have to decide, and try to make it meaningful. Even I could have taken A, B, C, but then I'll not be able to understand what I am taking in E, which variable is used for the display or output. So try to take small, precise, meaningful name for your variable. So this is the declaration, and I have initialized result with 0. Now I'm going to take an input in num1. So num1, we have to take an input from jtext field 1, jtext field 1 dot get text. Now as you can see, it is giving an error because text field or text area or any other kind of component, they understand dealing only in strings. So when I'm taking an input in something other than or apart from string, then you have to do the conversion. So this jtext field 1 dot get text is going to return a value in string. I have to convert it into integer and then store it in num1. So I can write integer dot parse int, and then in the function brackets, then I can write jtext field 1 dot get text. Now this is perfect. So you have to use this parse function to convert string value into numeric. So I'm converting string value into integer over here. Similarly, I'm going to do it for num2. I'll just copy and paste it to save my time. So this is done. I just have to change it to jtext field 2. So result would be num1 plus num2, and then semicolon. You have to terminate every statement with semicolon. Remember that. Now you have to display this result. Again, text fields can understand only strings. So we had used getText method for the input, and we are using setText method for the output. So here I have to convert integer value back into string. So I'm going to use another function, integer dot toString, and then I'm going to write variable name result. Remember, whenever you are writing a variable name, never ever write that in inverted commas. You have to write it result, just like that. So we have created our code for addition. We are going to write the similar code for subtraction. We cannot write the subtraction code over here. We have to move back to the design window, and we have to double click on, I'm going to copy this code because this will be useful for me in the subtraction button. So now I'm going to double click on the subtraction button. Okay, I've come behind J button to action performed. So I'm going to click here and I'll copy paste my code. So it has saved a lot of time for me to write that code again. Remember, when you move from one button to another button, you have to declare the variables again. You can use the same name because when you move from one button to another button, the scope of variable is over. So nobody knows num1 and num2 in this button. So you have to rewrite those variables. You have to declare them again. You have to take the input again. So here I have to do subtraction instead of addition. So this is done. I'm again going to copy and paste this code. I'll go back to design window and I'll click on multiply. And I'm going to paste it here. So now we have to do multiplication. So I'll just change the multiplication symbol, copy, and then divide. And then you can do the division and then remainder. See, remember, remainder is used to find out the remainder between two values. So I'm going to use modulus operator for finding the remainder between two values. For example, if you do 10 modulus 2, so remainder should be 0. It is not going to give you 5 because we are not dividing over here. We are calculating remainder between two values. So 10 modulus 2 will give you 0. Alright, so our design source code has been done. Our coding is done. We are going to go to run and we'll click on run file, or you can also click shift F6. All right, so this is ready. So I'm going to give an input for two numbers, 5 and 4. Okay, I think I need to stretch these text fields a little more because this is not very this is not looking very nice over here. So let me just do it. Okay, so that it is better, or it is easier for you to read the input that I'm giving. Yeah, so now this looks perfect. We are going to execute this file again, shift F6 or run file. So here our maths calculator is ready. So I'm giving an input of two values, 4 and then 5. Okay, if you're going to add that, it is going to give you 9. If you're going to subtract it, -1, multiply 20, divide 0, and remainder 4. See, remainder has come 4 because when the number from which you are dividing is lesser than the number, it takes it as remainder. For example, if I'm going to give 20 divided by 5, then the remainder will come out to be 0. 20 plus 5, 25, subtraction, multiplication, and divide. So it is working perfectly fine. Alright, so your first application is ready, that is maths calculator. Perfect.